Hello, YouTube audience and all my butt buddies watching. Thank you for clicking on this very special Spellbreak video. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions on the development of new gauntlets and new elements in the game of Spellbreak. Stick around to the end because my final prediction might just surprise you.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.
If for some reason you don't know what Spellbreak is by now, it is basically a fantasy battle royale game with magic and spells. You are an epic battle mage and you're going against other battle mages in combat to be the last one standing. If you want to see some gameplay of Spellbreak, I'll put a link right up here for you to watch. Now, some of your initial thoughts might be that it's too early to suggest that new elements and new gauntlets are coming into the game. Like, but slow down. The game has only been released for a couple of weeks. Let people settle in. But the reality of it is, Spellbreak has laid out a roadmap of the time ahead and what's going to be going on. In this roadmap, they have a long-term section, but I've been a Spellbreak creator for over a year. So when they say long-term, to me, that means it's on its way, it's coming, and we need to get ready for it. Long-term is where things that are very large or in very early stages of development live. These things are likely 3 months or more out, but have been deemed a priority and discussions are happening internally. There's not going to be a lot here in terms of specifics to share, but we wanted to let you know that this stuff we're actively discussing, designing, and nailing down. For all of these, they're far enough out that there's plenty of time for feedback and discussion with y'all, and that's what we hope to do over the coming months. Right, so that's exactly what this is. This is feedback and discussion about the upcoming updates. If we go ahead and scroll down from here, we will get confirmation about what's happening. More gauntlets, more elements. Yup. We've got a lot of exploration we've been doing here into art styles for elements, concepts and prototypes for gauntlets and runes, and more. We've opened up a few jobs specifically to work on these in the past few weeks. Keep in mind, since these have not been added to the game yet, I'm gonna have to pull animations from other games and other animes to give you an idea of how the spells might look and how the spells might work. So here it is. Here are my predictions about what gauntlets they could be adding in the next couple months. At number 1, and this should be a surprise to nobody, is water. Spellbreak already has a lot of physical elements. They have air, fire, earth, toxic, and ice. Those are physical elements. And water is also a physical element that they just haven't added. So I think it's very likely that they will add a water gauntlet sometime in the future. Now, what are the spells going to look like? I think the main cast will be actually quite simple. Something kind of like a water shuriken that is thrown and does damage upon impact. Of course, this spell will react with other elements and with the environment. And the sorcery for this gauntlet, I think, will be pretty unique. Whenever I think about what the sorcery of this water gauntlet could be, my mind is drawn to a scene in Harry Potter where Dumbledore actually has Voldemort wrapped up in this huge water orb, and I think that could be it. I think it would actually be pretty weird if they didn't add a water gauntlet, as it could easily combine with the other elements already in this game. Coming in with my number 2 prediction is another physical element known as the element of nature. You could also describe this element as the element of life or the element of vegetation, but I chose nature. I've always wanted this to be a gauntlet in Spellbreak because I think of all the epic interactions it could have with the other elements. If they happen to add a water gauntlet, water spells could strengthen the nature spells. And adversely, fire gauntlets, fire spells could harm the nature spells or weaken them. Plus, it could change the environment around you. If this were to be added to the game, I speculate that the main attack would be a razor-sharp, leaf-like projectile that you throw at your enemies. Kind of like if you were playing Pokemon and used a similar move. You could also throw these projectiles into a tornado and trap your enemies in what is now a freaking shredder. As for the sorcery of this element, I think it's going to have something to do with slowing people down. Kind of like in a scene from Sky High, where Layla calls upon nature to help her out in a tricky situation. The nature grabs the enemies, slows them down, and allows her to do her thing. For my third prediction, I'm going to move away from the physical elements because I suspect that they are going to add an ethereal element of some kind, something to do with the spirit or something psychic.
Here, in, now.
Now, people with psychic abilities or telekinesis can move things with their minds relatively easily. So I think the main hand attack with a psychic type gauntlet will influence the directions or gravitational pull of where things are going. And if you can move other things and other people with your mind, you should also be able to move yourself with your mind with relatively low effort. So I think the sorcery for a psychic gauntlet will actually be to create some kind of stepping stairs mid-air so you can move around pretty easily. The video is almost finished, so I just have a couple more ideas. And this next idea I've combined from what people have been saying in the Spellbreak community, especially on Twitch and in Twitch chats. Myself included, seem to think that Spellbreak is going to add a light gauntlet and a dark gauntlet. Maybe they'll just add one, maybe they'll add both, maybe they'll add neither of them. But while opposite elements, I think they are similar enough to have the same type of moves, so that's why I'm combining them here for my fourth prediction.
Absolutely have to have dark in order to have light. Gotta have dark. Gotta have opposites, dark and light and dark, continually in painting. If you have light on light, you have nothing. If you have dark on dark, you basically have nothing.
This combination would get even farther disconnected from ethereal elements, and it would create a type of moral element. Are you going to be on the dark side, or are you going to be on the light side? And what are the spells even going to look like? People with the power of shadows or light are able to blast shadows or photons from their hands and also be able to blast them with pressure. Perhaps people with the power of light or dark can bend the shadows to create spikes to shoot at their enemies. Like benders have control over their elements, light benders and dark benders would also have control of the light and darkness around them. This leads me to believe that as their sorcery, they could control their element to create a type of force field barrier that would protect them and their teammates behind them for a short amount of time. I think it goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If these two met on the battlefield, things would get pretty weird and pretty epic. You are freaking awesome. You made it to my final prediction. Let me know down below what elements you think are coming to Spellbreak and what you would like to see the most. Also, let me know what you thought of my list. And here it is, my final prediction for what gauntlet they could add into Spellbreak is a healing gauntlet. What? That's right, a gauntlet that doesn't do any damage, it just heals your teammates. How would this work? I have no idea. This entire video is pure speculation. They could add none or all of the elements I talked about. I personally am very excited to see what they come up with. I'm very excited to see if I'm right about any of this. It was all just a big guess, but it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.